The Empire did not panic. It did not scream when danger came. It announced it. Civic notice. The calm voice echoed across the Grand Promenade. Localized thermal anomaly detected. Please proceed to the nearest calm. People did not run at first. They watched. Orange and white flames bloomed beneath the coral-like balcony structures. Heat twisted the air. Smart plastics burned, releasing glittering metallic smoke. The crowd moved like a polite river, flowing away instead of scattering. Jax Halden did not belong there. He was a human trader with a slightly illegal ship and a legal cargo of artisan industrial polymer threads. The clerk had corrected him twice when he called them string. Now his crates were cleared. His wrists still itched from the visitor sigil stamp. He was ready to leave. Then he heard it. Not the calm announcement. Not the polite drones projecting evacuation arrows. A cough. A sharp, human sound beneath the velvet voice of the Empire. Near the edge of the promenade, a royal convoy had stalled. Sleek mirrored pods surrounded by hovering security drones. One pod's side panel had buckled inward. Inside, a faint shield flickered like a dying heartbeat. Citizen. A drone rotated toward him. Do not approach. Authorized containment personnel arriving in 6 minutes. 6 minutes. Jax stared at the burning pod. 6 minutes was a lifetime when skin was turning into smoke. He was not a hero. He was a man who liked breathing. But the cough came again. He ran. Heat slapped his face. Smart metal resisted his grip when he grabbed the warped door. Even your doors have pride, he muttered through coughing. He pressed his stamped wrist against the seam. The sigil discharged a crackling pulse. The metal softened. Inside, a small figure lay slumped in ceremonial fabric. Her skin glowed faintly at the temples. Silver threads shimmered in her dark hair. The personal shield around her sputtered and died. He pulled her out just as a wave of flame rolled across the promenade. He laughed because fear needed somewhere to go. If I die, he coughed, I'm filing a complaint about your planet's customer service. They collapsed onto cool stone. Drones swarmed closer. Royal biological signature detected. Royal. Jax looked down at the unconscious woman in his arms. The Empire had just recorded a transaction. And he had not agreed to it. Middle, the debt with teeth. He woke to soft light and a floating sphere scanning his arm. You have been stabilized, it said calmly. Do not attempt humor. That sounds personal, Jax rasped. The door unfolded. She walked in. The same woman he had dragged from fire. Only now she stood tall, controlled, powerful. Her temple lines glowed softly when she looked at him. You are awake, she said. I'm medium rare, he replied. Her lips twitched. Behind her stood robed officials. By civic record, one began, you entered a restricted hazard zone and extracted her radiance under irreplaceable conditions. That sounds expensive, Jax said. It is, the official answered. A hologram formed between them, a symbol like a star with a bite taken out of it. Life debt protocol activated. Jax blinked. That sounds like a fitness app. It predates your species' first orbital station, the official replied coldly. Repayment cannot be satisfied through wealth or service. Great, Jax muttered. So what do I win? The hologram shifted. 2 words appeared. Obligation form. Union. He read it twice. Union like worker rights? He asked hopefully. The princess looked away. Union, the official repeated, as in marriage. Silence filled the room. Jax laughed once. That's dramatic. You preserved the royal bloodline, the official said. The Empire balances sacrifice with structure. I ran into fire because someone was dying, Jax snapped. Not to become property. The princess stepped forward. It is not ownership, she said softly. Feels like it, he answered. They escorted him to the throne chamber. The queen waited like an unmoving star. You will marry, she decreed. No anger. No threat. Just law. Jax felt small under the weight of a perfect system. Do I get a choice? He asked. Choice, the queen said calmly, is a luxury. Jax laughed bitterly. On my planet, debt is how someone sells you 2 toasters. The court did not understand the joke. But the princess did. Her temple lines glowed brighter. Days passed. He learned the truth. The life debt protocol was ancient. Old systems were sacred. Sacred systems were dangerous. But old systems had one weakness. They were complicated. Late at night, the princess met him in quiet corridors. She taught him their legal language. There is a clause, she whispered one night. Reciprocity. Meaning. If one life is claimed, the Empire must accept equal obligation. Jax smiled slowly. Humans were good at one thing machines were not. Improvising. The ceremony. Breaking the machine. The binding hall felt cold. Ceremonial fabric tried to correct his posture every time he slouched. Stop, he hissed at his outfit. I'm not a flagpole. Across from him stood the princess. Steady. But her hands trembled slightly. The vow interface formed, a ribbon of light waiting for spoken consent. I acknowledge the debt, Jax said clearly. The ribbon pulsed. But I invoke the reciprocity clause. Gasps echoed. The legalist froze. That clause is ceremonial. It's a clause, Jax replied. And you worship clauses. The princess stepped forward. He is correct. The queen's eyes narrowed. State your terms, she commanded. Jax swallowed. He could run. He always ran. But not this time. We complete the union, he said, voice steady. But not as ownership. I keep my name. My ship. My freedom to leave. Murmurs rose. She keeps her freedom too, he continued. And the protocol is amended. Future life debts must offer alternatives before marriage. Silence fell heavy. Amendment requires sovereign decree, a legalist whispered. All eyes turned to the queen. She studied him. You entered fire without permission, she said. Yes. You challenge law without rank. Yes. He forced a grin. It's my brand. For a long moment, the Empire balanced on a single breath. Then, very well, the Queen said. Shock rippled through the chamber. Debt will be balanced. Law will adapt. One amendment. The vow ribbon softened. The princess exhaled sharply. They spoke their vows. Not surrender. Choice. When the light wrapped around their wrists, it felt like connection, not a chain. Ending. The first crack in perfection. Later, under floating gardens, the princess stood beside him. You changed something ancient, she said quietly. I just read the fine print, he replied. She smiled fully this time. You could leave. I could, he said. His ship was cleared legally now. Engines warming. Freedom waiting. He looked at her. The glow at her temples was softer now. Human, almost. I don't like systems that cage people, he said. But I don't run from people who stand beside me. She nudged his shoulder lightly. So you will stay. For now, he said. And if your empire tries something dramatic again, I'm charging consulting fees. She laughed. A real laugh. Behind them, court members whispered. For the first time in centuries, the life debt protocol had been amended. Because a human refused to accept being property. Because he ran into fire. Because he stayed when it mattered. The Empire learned something new that day. Humans did not break systems with strength. They broke them with stubborn hope. And sometimes, that was stronger than law. The Empire did not forgive. It adapted. But it never forgot. 3 days after the amended union, Jax Halden stood on a balcony above the capital city of glass towers and floating gardens. His ship rested in a royal docking cradle below. Cleared. Polished. Watched. Everything here was watched. The Bitten Star seal still glowed faintly above his wrist. Softer than before. But not gone. Beside him stood Princess Elira. Her temple lines shimmered gently in the evening light. The glow had changed since the ceremony. Less guarded. More alive. You are uneasy, she said quietly. I'm always uneasy, Jax replied. It's how I stay alive. Below them, Drones traced quiet patterns in the air. Security had doubled since the amendment to the Life Debt Protocol. Because not everyone agreed with change. Mother believes stability has been preserved, Elira said. Stability is just another word for control, Jax muttered. Elira did not argue. Instead, she looked toward the distant Senate spire, a towering structure where legalists and nobles debated law like priests protecting scripture. They are meeting again tonight, she said. About me. About precedent. Jax laughed softly. I ran into a fire and now I'm a precedent. Worst trade deal of my life. But even as he joked, something felt wrong. Too quiet. Too smooth. The Empire had bent. And systems that bent often snapped. That was when the first drone fell from the sky. Middle, assassins in perfect order. The drone did not explode. It simply stopped. Then dropped. It struck the garden platform below with a sharp metallic crack. More drones froze in the air. Then one by one. They fell. Jax grabbed Elira's arm. That's not a malfunction. No, she said softly. The air shimmered. Figures stepped out from cloaked fields of distortion. Black armor. No royal sigils. Not official. Which made them more dangerous. Unauthorized combat signatures detected, a palace voice announced calmly. The Empire still did not panic. But Jax did not wait for announcements. Inside, he said, pulling Elira toward the corridor. A pulse of blue energy streaked past them, blasting stone from the balcony railing. Assassins. Not thieves. Not rebels. Professionals. Elira's temple lines flared bright. Mother will not have ordered this, she said sharply. I didn't think she sent flowers either, Jax answered. They ran. Energy bolts cracked against walls behind them. Guards rushed from side corridors, forming defensive lines. But something was wrong. Some guards turned their weapons the wrong direction. Fired at fellow soldiers. Inside job. Jax's heart pounded. He had expected political resistance. He had not expected civil fracture. They reached a security door. It did not open. Access denied, the calm voice said. Elira stared at the panel. My clearance is sovereign tier. Clearance revoked, the voice replied. Jax looked at her. Okay. That's new. Another blast struck the wall behind them. Stone shattered. Jax grabbed a fallen guard's pulse pistol. I don't like guns, he muttered. You are holding it incorrectly, Elira said. Now is not the time for a tutorial. Two armored figures rushed around the corner. Jax fired wildly. The first bolt hit the ceiling. The second struck one assassin in the chest. The armor absorbed most of it, but the impact slowed him. Elira moved. Not like royalty. Like a trained combatant. She stepped forward, palm glowing bright at the temple lines, and released a focused pulse of energy. The assassin flew backward into the wall. Jax blinked. You didn't mention that ability. You did not ask. The second assassin lunged. Jax did something very human. He threw the gun. It struck the attacker's visor. Not elegant. But surprising. A palace guard tackled the assassin from behind. Your Radiance, the guard shouted. Evacuation route this way. They followed. Behind them, alarms finally changed tone. Not polite now. Urgent. The truth, who wants him dead? They reached an armored transport chamber deep beneath the palace. The queen stood there already. Unharmed. Waiting. Her eyes moved to Jax. You brought instability, she said calmly. I also brought amendments, he shot back. This was not my order, she said. I figured. You prefer paperwork to bullets. For a second, the corner of her mouth almost moved. Several high houses oppose the protocol change, she explained. They believe the amendment weakens royal authority. It strengthens it, Elira said firmly. It gives choice. Choice is unpredictable, the queen replied. Exactly, Jax muttered. A hologram appeared. Images of the attacker's armor rotated in midair. No house insignia, the queen said. But internal access codes were used. Meaning someone high enough to reach security systems, Jack said. Yes. Silence. The Empire had always been united in structure. Now cracks were visible. Why not just challenge the amendment publicly? Jax asked. Because if they overturn it legally, Elira said softly, the Empire fractures openly. So instead they remove the human variable, Jax finished. Remove him. No human. No amendment. The Queen looked directly at him. You may leave now, she said. Your ship is cleared. Protection will not extend beyond Imperial space. Jax stared at her. You're giving me an exit. Yes. Elira turned sharply. Mother. The amendment stands whether he remains or not, the Queen said. If he dies here, it becomes martyrdom. If he leaves, tension lowers. Jax felt the weight of the moment. Run. That was what he did best. His ship waited. Engines ready. Freedom simple. Elira looked at him. Not commanding. Not royal. Just hopeful. If you go, she said quietly, I will understand. And that made it worse. Climax, the human choice. Another explosion rocked the chamber. The assassins had breached lower levels. Time was gone. Jax took a breath. I'm tired of running, he said. The Queen's eyes narrowed slightly. I'm the problem they want removed, he continued. So let's use that. Elira stared at him. You propose what? We draw them out, he said. Publicly. The Queen folded her hands. Explain. You announce that I'm leaving tonight. Big, dramatic farewell. Broadcast it. Every house watching. Elira's temple lines brightened. And I don't leave, he finished. I wait in the docking bay. Alone? The Queen asked. Not exactly. You'll have your loyal guards hidden. When they come to finish the job, you catch them with proof. The Queen studied him. High houses do not send soldiers personally. No, Jack said. But they send someone important enough to guarantee success. Silence. Then. Approved, the Queen said. Elira stepped closer to Jax. You are risking death again. Yeah, he said lightly. It's becoming a hobby. She touched his wrist seal. You could still go. He smiled faintly. If I leave now, they win. And your amendment dies quietly next year. She did not argue. Because she knew he was right. The trap. The farewell broadcast spread across the Empire within minutes. Jax Halden, human consort, departing peacefully after diplomatic success. The docking bay lights dimmed. His ship sat alone. He stood beside it. Unarmed. Visible. Waiting. Minutes stretched. He felt foolish. Then the bay doors sealed. Not by palace command. By override. Cloaked figures shimmered into view. For this time. One stepped forward. Unlike the others, this one removed his helmet. An older alien male. Noble markings faint along his temples. Human, the noble said calmly. Your presence destabilizes centuries of order. I get that a lot, Jax replied. You introduced doubt, the noble continued. Doubt spreads. Good, Jax said simply. Energy blades ignited. Bright and deadly. Jax's heart hammered. He had no weapon. No armor. Just stubbornness. You could have left, the noble said. Yeah, Jax agreed. The noble lunged. And the docking bay exploded with light. Royal guards emerged from hidden alcoves. Energy fields snapped into place. Assassins were pinned by containment beams. The noble froze mid-strike. The Queen's voice filled the chamber. High House Velrath. Treason confirmed. The noble's calm mask cracked. You doom us to weakness, he shouted. No, the Queen replied as she stepped into view. We adapt. Guards seized the attackers. The noble glared at Jax. You are chaos. Jax met his eyes. No, he said quietly. I'm choice. Ending, a new direction. The arrest shook the Empire. Public trial followed. Evidence undeniable. A high house had attempted to murder a royal consort to undo lawful amendment. The Queen addressed the Senate. Order that cannot survive choice, she declared, is not order. It is fear. The amendment remained. Stronger now. Protected by precedent and exposed betrayal. Days later, Jack stood again on the balcony with Elira. This time the sky felt different. Less heavy. You stayed, she said softly. For now, he answered. You could still leave. Yeah. He looked at his ship. Then at her. Then at the city below, no longer perfect, but alive. You know what scares old systems most? He asked. What? People who don't scare easily. She smiled. You are afraid often. Yeah, he admitted. But I don't let it choose for me. Her temple lines glowed warm. The Empire had tried to remove him. Instead, it revealed its weakness. And humans were very good at finding weakness. He had not conquered the Empire. He had not overthrown it. He had simply stood his ground. And sometimes, in a universe built on ancient law, that was the most dangerous act of all.